There's a story purportedly attributed to Niels Bohr and others who tried to explain the notion of the atom bomb, what a nuclear bomb was. And at the time, nobody really understood it. And you'd say it, it's really big, it's really important, but there was really no way to explain how big this was. How it used terms that nobody understood. And so consequently, that's what I'm seeing regarding what's happening with the Epstein files. And something will come up. Even Kevin Spacey chimes in. It's open season. The word has gone out. Everybody, come on in. Be a part of this. Just enjoy yourself. Come on in. Let them have it. Be a part of this. Jump in. And invariably, somebody will say, who cares? What does it matter? There's always this contingent. And I'm thinking, that's like, I'm sure they had people when the time of the atom bomb, they probably said, who cares? What's this egghead, this Danish guy, Niels Bohr? I don't understand what he's talking about. It can't be that important. It's no big deal. That's kind of where we are right now. This is existential potentially for the president if he doesn't discuss it. Let me remind you before we get deeper into this, because this is a warning. Saturday night, cutting room. This could very well take and be a part of the entire, I don't want it to be, but it's bigger than anything anybody can even imagine. It's true. I mean, there's no way around it. It's bigger than anything anybody can imagine. Not only that, where we're going and where we're heading. We don't want to be in the position of being MAGA and closing our eyes, putting these blinders on and thinking we're great, everything's groovy because we're the best and everybody else is stupid and we're the cool kids and they're not. And that may be true, but that's not going to work. So Saturday night, get your tickets now. You don't want to show up and pay more at the door. But this is important for you, not only to see me. We have our little cards, right? We're going to give out we have little cards where you write questions because your input is critical. It's not just stand up. It's talking about this, presenting facts, and us, because I don't understand politics. To me, it's not a hobby. It's our life. It's the country. It's the future. It's like your health. This is our nation's health. So Saturday night at the cutting room, I want to see you, and it would be an honor to see you. Now let me see if I can put this into perspective in a way that I think might help things out. It works something like this. The president, I think we all know, we all love. We needed him. He came at a great time, and he is so important and so critical for our country. It really is. I mean, we really needed him. But sometimes he does some of the most boneheaded stuff I have ever heard in my life. Why he does this, I have no idea. I have no idea. It's the most stupid thing I've ever seen him do. He does these things where he just says something and then he figures, because I'm Donald Trump, magically, mystically, beautifully, for reasons I don't know, everything will turn out okay. Because I'm Donald Trump and I'm a genius and we're MAGA and I dodged, and I don't, please, I'm not joking this. He literally actually dodged a bullet. And he might feel, for reasons I don't understand, he might feel that he is somehow impervious to the usual aspects of politics that most people have to worry about. If that makes any sense to you. He might feel, I don't have to worry about things because I'm Donald Trump and I'm blessed by God. I have been ordained by God. Again, literally, it's almost like an opposite of PTSD. It's almost like he might have a kind of a sense of I'm bulletproof. I don't know. Better to have that than to be cowering in a corner, which would be completely and totally understandable. Now, this is a part which I think people have to understand. If you really, truly find yourself in the position of being politically smart, you have to kind of understand the way things work in terms of the way something can change. Let me remind you of something. When I was at the original WABC, or my WABC, everybody thought that how do I say this? That the Clinton dress escapade with Monica Lewinsky, they said, was the end of the world. And I said at the time, and they did not like this, I'm saying most people don't care about this. And the reason why they don't care about this is because, number one, the people who hate Bill Clinton already hate him. The people who like Bill Clinton are not going to feel in any way, what am I trying to say? They're not going to, how do I say this? They're not, the people who like him doesn't matter. The people who already hate him aren't going to be affected by this. So the bottom is, what difference does it make? And I told people it doesn't make any difference at all. You're reading too much into it. However, at the time, and this is important, at the time, it was beyond critical for people to understand that it was a huge deal, even though in retrospect it seems kind of stupid. But political controversies sometimes do not ask permission. They don't care whether they're stupid or not. It doesn't matter what you think or what the actual absolute value is. It doesn't matter. Now, you may say to yourself, this Epstein thing, who cares? My favorite is, like Trump said today, which was the most stupid thing anybody's ever said. Are we still talking about this? He even gave Pam a way out, or Pam Bondi, where he said, look, if you don't want to talk about this, I understand, or something to that effect. And she said, oh, no, I want to talk about this. I'm thinking, oh, my God, this dame doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand. She really doesn't understand. And I try so hard to work with the president, but he doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand it. In our world, listen to what I'm saying. In our world, the thing which is the number one absolute mortal sin is anything involving children. Am I right? Am I right? It's the number one thing. The number one issue. It is the number one issue, which is so important, so critical, that I don't think people can put it into perspective. If there's one thing that we can do, I'm telling you could say, well, for lower taxes and we're this and that. I am telling you, I am telling you that the number one issue, bar none, which we are the most adamant about, is that. So when this thing came up, I thought, oh, Jesus, not for us. Now, the second thing is, we're not going anywhere. When people say they love to have their feelings hurt, they love to say things like, I'm leaving. Where are you going? I don't know, but I'm walking away. Walking away from what? I'm walking away from the president. You're walking away from the president? What are you, nuts? Where do you think you're going? Where? And they say this because they love to feel that they just want to be upset. And I'm thinking, I am not going anywhere, and you're not going anywhere. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world, man. Nobody is leaving. We're upset, but we're not going anywhere. Let me make sure we get this straight. I don't know why people are saying this. There's this Nick Fuentes guy who is just loving being Nick Fuentes. He loves driving people crazy. He loves saying, he's 20-something years old, and he loves saying things. He will have no shelf life in this because he's self-destructive. But he's very smart and very interesting, but he has absolutely no sense of proportion. You can't say things about race the way he does. You might think so, but in the long run, it's going to kill your career. It's going to kill your trajectory. You can't do this. I know you may think so. You might say, what's the big deal? What difference does it make? You can't do this. See, there are people I know who say things. It's like you don't understand something. You've got to be very, very careful. Don't, pardon my French, don't shoot your wad. Don't get your powder wet. Don't exhaust your message so that every time you speak, you have to outdo the prior statement that you've made. Always be clear. Always say what you believe. Always say truly what comes from your heart. Don't ever say something that you think is clever or that you feel like you have to say. Say it because you really mean it. You really, honest to God, mean it. And that's the most important thing in the world. Can't say that enough to you. Can't put that into perspective enough. Never do that. And I see it all the time. People will say things just to, it's like just they live by the numbers. The numbers will come. The numbers will come. Everything will come, but you've got to be very, very careful. You got to be very careful, and you can't put yourself in the position of doing something where you hurt yourself down the road. Now, why does Kevin Spacey matter? First, what's important about that is to say when even Kevin Spacey knows it's okay to do this, you know it's a new day. You know officially, and this is important, you know officially that it's a brand new world, and more importantly, that the coast is clear. This guy, his story is horrible. But again, he's been cleared or whatever, but his allegations are young men and this and that. And say what you want. Say what you want. No matter how progressive you think this world is, no matter how open-minded you think people are, I am telling you, and I'm going to say this again to you, nobody cares for that. Nobody, we don't cotton to that. We don't like that. We don't appreciate that. This is one of those things which I think people don't really grasp. They really don't understand. Okay, anyway, so he's jumping on board, okay? That's fine. He's jumping on board. It's spreading like wildfire. And they're saying, Mr. President, let these files go. Special prosecutor. No! Special counsel, special prosecutor, special. When you do this, you're going to leave. You're going to lose control of this. You got to ask yourself, have there ever been cases where President Trump has been involved with this? The answer is yes. There were a couple of lawsuits that were dismissed. Okay? He's not involved in this. If there were anything at all that involved this president, if there were anything in the least that involved this president in any way whatsoever, they would have been over it. They would have funded it. That Reed, what's his name? They would have, just like with E. Jean Carroll, they would have promoted this. The issue is also 20 years ago, when some of these women are in their 50s. It was before that. This is a case that is not subject to, you people act like it just happened. It's a long time ago. It's very complicated. You've got some women who found themselves in the position of maybe some women who thought that, I guess you'd say maybe they thought that they were, I don't know what the how do I say this? I don't know how to put this into perspective, but maybe some women say, I don't want you to bring this up. I don't want you to talk about this, or I've settled, or it's a long time ago, or maybe I was a little bit more complicit even though I was underage. A lot of things. Pam Bondi was an idiot by bringing this up. None of this would have happened. Do you hear what I'm saying? Let me make sure you understand this. Everything we're doing now is because of Pam Bondi. Everything. That stupid section where she appeared on Fox News because she wanted you to know, by God, that she is important. She wants you to understand that she is important. Do you hear this? Do you hear this? I want you to grasp this. I want you to get it. I want you to understand this. Because this is the most important thing in the world. More important than anything else. Our good friend Pilgrim says, who is Trump's Bibi Rebozo? Oh, Bibi Rebozo? No, he doesn't have one. He doesn't have a best friend. He has kind of associates. By the way, Fred Haddad gifted 10 Lionel Nation memberships. Fred, thank you, my friend. He doesn't have a Bibi Rebozo. Doesn't really have one. He's not. No, he's not. He doesn't understand this. I don't think the president gets it. Now, the next thing I'm going to say again, and forgive me again for repeating this, but I'm going to keep telling you this. What are the lists? What are they? Who has a list? A list of what? What is the list? Do you have any idea of what you're talking about? No. Let me try this again. What list? Do you believe there is a list of what? Now, when I ask people this, and I'm repeating myself, and I recognize it because I don't think people really understand. They say, well, a list of whatever. I said, there is no list. You might think there is. But do you want to do this? Do you want to release a list of victims who might very well say, wait a minute, why are you doing this? Why did you release this? I'm a victim. I was a minor then. Anybody think about that? No. Because we're jumping on the bandwagon of the list. Pam Bondi, like an idiot. I'm serious. Said this crazy. It's on my desk and And I don't understand how this thing works. I think that's our friend S. Just let it go. So the thing I'm saying is, I don't think she understands this. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. I really don't think so. Let me give you an example of something. Everybody's familiar with the mob, the mafia. You know, you've got all these mob shows and mob talk and the mob genre and the mob this and the mob that and all that stuff. Okay, fine. That's just great. And there's all this mob stuff. Well, believe it or not, kind of an interesting aspect of this is that in the mob, they do not write down a list of everybody who has been made, who's been straightened out, who got their badge, who got their button, who got it doesn't exist. And the reason why it doesn't exist is for obvious reasons. It's a secret organization. And you have to be able to maintain that secrecy. And that secrecy is critical. Absolutely, positively critical. So there was a deal one time, you may not remember this, but it was, if I recall correctly, it was Junior Gotti, I believe. At his wedding, there was a list in a safe, purportedly, of gifts that were given. And as such, they said, you don't do this. You don't write these names down because this might be construed as a list of our folks. By the way, thank you so much. Sal says, do you still use rotary phone too? Rotary? No. Landline? Yes. Rotary? No. Rotary is but landline, oh yeah, absolutely. Landline cannot be picked up by virtue. It's safer. I know people don't really care about that anymore, but it's one of those things which is true. And also, by virtue of where we are in the apartment, we don't, our cell phones don't work. And a lot of people, you know, these big buildings you see in Manhattan, they don't have any coverage. Pilgrim says, if you listed victims have impact statements, no. What you don't want to make this public. Is this another long planned trap? The hero pales. We can pretend we know. I don't know this. Let me tell you this again, and listen to me. Listen very, very carefully. You're not going to issue a list of this regarding people who have ostensibly been involved in one of the most traumatic incidents of their life. Everybody tell me you understand what I'm saying. Ladies, would you like your daughter's name in a list? When I was involved in, there was a time when there were all of these lawsuits going around. These oh my God, it was these lawsuits involving dioceses when they opened up the statutes of limitations. And I became just aware of this, and it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. But the bottom line is, you saw the list. You could go on the various court forms, and you can see the clerk's filings. But you see Jane Doe, John Doe number 1, 2, 3, John Doe, or maybe initials. Because even then, you wanted to do everything in your power to provide for anonymity. What list are you going to have with anonymous sources? What if the list involves people that you didn't follow through on because the evidence wasn't there? How would you feel like if you, let's assume during the course, I believe that in some of the parties that they had, some of the various events that Epstein had, they had these, what am I trying to say? They had these dinner parties. And I think George Stephanopoulos or something, or Henry Kissinger. I mean, people who would just be invited, just not for anything nefarious, just there. What if your name became involved in this and somebody said something and then later on it wasn't substantiated? Or are we going to allow people's names to be besmirched? There are people who still don't understand that being on a flight log, being on a flight, doesn't mean anything. Because so imprecise are we keep talking about these words. Now, this goes back to Pam Bondi said files. No, excuse me. I have the lists. They're on my desk, ready to be reviewed. I've got them. She was so in love with Fox News that she had to say, I'm important. Have me on again. Isn't this great? I am loving it. And a lot of people do. It's not just her. Then they said, wait a minute, you said you had lists on it. Well, I meant files. Yeah, that's it, files, including other files like the JFK files and the UFO files. And it's like, what are you talking about? Then we had Dershowitz, who said, did you see Dershowitz with Mehdi Hassan? Oh my God, on Zeteo? Somebody's got to reel him in. You know, he's 85 and he's still sharp as a tack, but he, for the longest time, has felt that Israel was bulletproof from any kind of accusations of certainly apartheid or genocide or anything like that. And he goes on with Mehdi Hassan, who is brutal. One of the most formidable opponents there is, I mean, one of the smartest people who knows Gaza inside and out. And he goes on, Piers Morgan, because he himself is so in love with getting his name on there. He doesn't understand you're killing this. So I mentioned two things. One was the Epstein thing. The other tack is how Israel is now, we have mentioned the word Mossad. Do you know most people, I hate to say it, don't know what Mossad is? You have no idea what you're talking about. They've never had any idea what it means. They weren't a part of it. It wasn't the, now they do. This is the first time we've seen anything. Sparky weighs in. Sparky says, Lionel, as an unapologetic and proud Southerner, you are likely familiar with the old saying, let sleeping dogs lie. Yeah. Did they not know this? Or did someone ask them to wake the dog? Absolutely. And you might have heard, Sparky, that dog don't hunt. And it is the most ridiculous thing. Let me tell you, Sparky, what I would do. If I was the Attorney General, you would never see me. First, maybe because I would kind of like to act like an Attorney General, as an emphasis on the word attorney. I would want to act as an Attorney General. Maybe when I get done, I would love some cushy corner suite in the, Latham or Sullivan and Cromwell or Gibson or Green, whatever, one of those big Kravitz, Swain, those big white shoe law firms. Oh, it would be so great. It would be just incredible. That would be me. Not, I want to go on Fox. And I don't even know if Fox is paying. I really don't know if Fox is still paying the big bucks anymore like they used. I don't know. I really, honestly don't know. I think a lot of that's been lost. So you wouldn't see me. You wouldn't see me. I would never announce, Sparko, I would never announce that we are investigating, what the hell is his name? Comey or Brennan, or you would never, ever, ever hear that. You would never hear Rudy Giuliani says, we're looking at the 5 heads of the families. No, he just shocked you. the commission case shocked the world. If you remember this, in 85, before Big Paulie bought it, but anyway, in December of 85. So whatever that particular time frame was, it was the biggest thing anybody. Why are they announcing this? Why is Dan Bongino, what's the phrase? Oh yes, full of shit. Why does he go and say, supposedly leaks the story, how he was yelling at the Attorney General? This deputy director of the FBI is talking to the Attorney General who runs the Department of Justice. His Mr. I'm law enforcement. I know chain of command. I know. You did what? You yelled at your what? Good luck. Good luck. I would have told them, I would have walked in there and say, you better shit can this guy right now to send a message. We don't do that. But that's not what they did. Oh no, they loved it. And they elevated him. I would have made it so easy, so fast. And you know he leaked it. You know he leaked. Listen, make sure you get a hold of him and tell him how you heard and how I haven't been into office like a little bitch, a little baby. I'm not in there. I'm upset with. I can't believe this. And how this guy pulls this nonsense about, oh, what a tough guy he is. First of all, you're not a team player. You never do anything ever to embarrass the commander-in-chief. Never. You're proving to people you're not a team player. You're an opportunist. That's what you're doing. You're no good at this. See, Trump hired all these glorified, these egomaniacs, and this is what he gets. He This is it. Now look at this one here. I got to show you this. Where is it? Here we go. Who cares what Kevin Spacey says? Okay, I know people are saying that because they got to do it. You would not be, Kelly, Catholic. You would not be on my list. You would not be on my team. And I'm assuming, because I can't believe you really mean this, but let's pretend that what you're saying is true. Because people love to say, who cares? I don't care about CNN. I don't watch CNN. I don't care what Piers Morgan. I don't, because if I don't care, I love to say I don't care. And who cares means it's not important. You're not on the team. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. You have a copy of the home game. You and Dan Bongino can go and talk to it. And you can talk about how it doesn't matter. It's at the level when somebody who is not a convicted, but who has been accused of being a sexual predator in his own right, whether it's right, wrong. Remember the what was that one, honey, that show called, not Being Kevin Spacey, but something. There was this. It was a pretty serious documentary. Anyway. Yeah. Well, no, Kevin Spacey. Okay. There was a documentary. Okay, hang on a minute. Kevin Spacey. It was called, Spacey Unmasked. The story of his meteoric rise, the allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior. Several men speak about their experiences with the actor. I mean, it was pretty bad. Really bad. And then later on, I think the civil suits were either dropped or whatever it was. But the point was, if he's saying this and he got the okay, that's how open season this is, if that makes any sense. Sparky says, on TV and movies, increasing the drama increases revenue, but it seems like that doesn't necessarily apply in government. You don't want drama on your team. You want the drama on the other team. You understand? On the other team. Not your team. You want those people to have the drama, Not on your team. So can you imagine if R. Kelly, I'm not trying to compare it, but let me see if R. Kelly came forward, if Diddy came forward, and now Ghislaine Maxwell's doing it. There is this drumbeat. Sparky says, I should have said TV, movies, and other forms of entertainment. Indeed. No, I understand your position very well. It's well taken. Imagine if Diddy says, we demand full disclosure. Diddy is saying this? Diddy? Who cares what Diddy is? No. Somebody told him the coast is clear. Go ahead and bring this up. I do not know how to put into words how this is happening. And it happened again. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to where this goes. Listen to where this goes. Listen to where this is going. Now imagine being something. You're sitting around President Trump's war room, his political cabinet, and you say, I don't care what he says. You're out the door. Next, you're out the door. This person doesn't understand what's going on here. Pam Bondi doesn't understand. Kash Patel is so wounded. You notice he's nowhere to be found. He's just sucking up. I'm just glad to be here. Because nobody vetted them. Nobody said, listen, Kash, Dan, I don't think you can be in this position. Why? Because we went through all of your social media stuff, and now you're going to have to do a 180. It doesn't work like that. Have you heard what they're now going to be saying about the president's health? Have you heard this one? I know you don't care about that. I know. Let me see if I can anticipate this. We're seeing pictures of his ankles. Have you seen this? Pilgrim says, these old timers won't be here in 10 years. And me. Okay, well, maybe that is, but thank you. I want you to pay attention. Sparky says, could President Trump have a carryover instinct to increase the drama? No, this is stupid. This is not drama. What if you kept getting caught at your job stealing from the company? What if you kept getting caught by your wife cheating on your marriage? Is that increasing the drama? That's not a good drama to increase. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Unless you just are self-destructive. Now, I want you to hear what they're talking about his ankles. Have you seen this? Remember, I'm not a physician, but as you know, venous reflux can be the cause of a lot of things. There are some pictures where he looks like he is pouring over his shoes. Chris Rock said one time he did this routine about black women and their shoes. It's not my joke, it's his. But he said that sometimes they insist upon, remember the old joke, women would claim to have a smaller foot and they would force these, it was a joke. It was like a theme, a comedic theme with some shoe guy would be forcing. Do they have people who try, nobody tries a shoe on or checks. Remember the old days you had a guy who had that metal thing where they moved it up and down this slide and he would try it. He would touch the toe and he would say, go ahead and walk. And today you go in, you buy your shoe and the hell with it. And, if it works, it works. If it doesn't. But anyway, in the old days, there was this theme of women who were somehow vain about the size of their feet. They thought women should have dainty feet or something like that. Anyway. And Eddie Murphy said, sometimes there are some women whose feet are so big, they look like bread rising out of a pan. And I thought that was such great imagery. It looks like they're just, well, that's what people are showing now. Some people thought maybe it was some kind of a brace. They're thinking maybe is there some kind of an edema, some type of cardiac, whatever. I'm just saying, be on the lookout. They're looking at every single thing there is. Remember how he drinks too much water? Maybe if he might not remember anything. I think he's just as sharp as he was, but this is something interesting. Pilgrim says, let's have the Constitution and integrity as our base. Okay, how do you do that? Let me know. The Constitution doesn't really speak anything to this, but I'm with you on that. I don't know how we accomplish this, but so here we go. We have the first time. Oh, Sparky says, is President Trump on blood pressure meds? Too high a dose can cause edema in the ankles. First of all, believe me when I tell you this. High pressure med, ACE inhibitors, if he has diuretics, it's the opposite. Spend a couple of times, go to ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, put in what do swollen ankles, spend 2 minutes, and you will see everything from venous reflux, because remember, when the blood goes up to the heart from the extremities, there's that little valve, and the reflux can cause it to open and pool back down. He might need we talked about this, compression stockings, or it's not uncommon, but let's don't throw things around, because it's not just edema. It can be a variety of things. Look for this venous reflux. They can do a Doppler. They can check it. It's very common. People do it all the time. You'll see it sometimes in older folks. It's just a circulation issue. It's not the end of the world. But what I'm saying is, be aware of this. Be aware of this and do your own research, because they're going to jump on it. Now, remember, the people who didn't care anything about Joe Biden, who was walking around yelling, who ordered the veal cutlet, who didn't know where he was, whose entire administration might have been an auto pen. Okay, remember this. They didn't care anything about him. Nothing. It meant nothing. But yet, all of a sudden, they're worried about perhaps bilateral venous reflux, or, some type of cardiac incident. These people know no bounds. Now, I want to say something. I want to also tell you. 2 things are happening. And I never thought, and I think this is even more important than anything else. The very fact that we are talking about Israel, I don't think I'm sure you do, but I don't think most people understand what it means and how people are coming. It's like they got the okay, just like when I said, it's Kevin Spacey got the okay to come out against Trump. Everybody's coming out against Gaza and our seemingly limitless funding of war, funding the Israeli war machine, and, this is important, and the seemingly limitless connection between AIPAC, which many people never heard of it before until now. I can't tell you how important that is. They sounded the klaxon. They said, this is different now. Do you know how big this is? I've been doing this for a long time. I've never heard this before. Never. You would have never heard on anything, if you dared to say anything, especially in conservative circles, anything but full and 100% obeisance and fealty to Israel, not Judaism, not the religion, but Israel, the country, or the nation state, or the state, or whatever. Oh my God. This is big. This is, I've never seen anything like this. And the other thing, you're seeing people like Dave Smith, the comedian, teaming up with Tucker Carlson, Max Blumenthal, who and Aaron Mate, who despise Tucker Carlson, are now sharing a common interest regarding Israel. The enemy of my enemy. Do you see what I'm saying? Never seen this before ever. Let me also tell you something. There are people who love Zoran Mamdani. Governor Cuomo cannot pronounce Mamdani after he was told repeatedly, learn how to pronounce it. Sparky says, sometimes walking every so often instead of using a golf cart when playing golf will stop swollen ankles. Also could be a good thing since maybe Lindsey Graham won't play without a golf cart. It could be. Yes, actually, do you know why it's beneficial to walk? Constriction of the calf muscles forcing blood back. Remember, for venous reflux, there's that little lip, and once it gives way, the blood flows back, causing the swelling. It's helpful. Pilgrim says, is that a no? So is that a no to a Jewish Levant? LOL. Perhaps. Good luck explaining that one. And thank you, gentlemen. Do you know what I'm saying here? Tucker Carlson, Dave, I was going to tell you something. Mamdani. Eric Adams calls it I don't think he says it correctly. And I think Al Sharpton calls it Mamdani, or I don't know. Nobody can, it's three syllables. Mom, M-O-M, kind of M-A-M, Dani. I don't know why this, and Zoran, why this is so difficult. Doesn't really matter. I don't know why this is difficult. But let me tell you what people are saying. They're loving him because he is saying no to Israel. They don't know any of the other lunacy that he has said regarding what people call socialism. It's not socialism. It's welfare state. Marxism. It's not Marxism. It's not any of this. It doesn't matter. They're not even listening to that. They are so enthralled by somebody daring to say, not only would he not, it was the most incredible thing. During the first debate, they asked everybody, where's the first place you'll visit? I don't even know why they asked that. Visit? Who's visiting? We got time to visit. You're the mayor of New York. This is the toughest job, second toughest job in the world, they say. And you want to go visit? And they said, oh, Israel. And I thought, why are you going to Israel? What are you talking about? And Mamdani said, I'm staying here. I'm not going to Israel. People loved it. He went a little bit further when he said he would arrest Bibi if Bibi were here, which he can't do. But now, why do I say this? Because they can't read the room. They can't read the room. They don't understand. They think, well, this is obviously anti-Semitic. No. There are people who are loving him and don't know anything he said. Now, I don't think that's enough for him to necessarily win. But the people in New York City who love to think they're movers and shakers, and we've got the ability, we're going to show how crazy he is, and we're either going to push for Curtis Sliwa, who I think is, I've known him for 30-something. I think he's a fine man. I really do. Don't let the beret fool you. He knows what he's talking about. Curtis, Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, and some other dude. I don't know who this other fella is. Anyway, and Mamdani. Okay. They're missing the point. They're going to say, Mamdani was actually in support of some PLO something or other. It's like, no. That will increase. The people who hate him aren't going to be affected. The people who like him aren't going to be affected. That may actually lure him. Lose that. Sparky says, people talk about the Levant as if it's only Israel-Palestine, but it encompasses a much larger area. Absolutely. In fact, do you remember years ago when Obama referred to not ISIS, but ISIL, the Islamic State of ISIS versus ISIL. The Levant, by the way, is defined as an historical and geographical term referring to a region in the eastern Mediterranean, while its exact boundaries can vary depending on context. It generally includes modern-day countries of Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, and sometimes parts of southern Turkey and northern Iraq. The word comes from the French lever, meaning to rise, referring to the land of the rising sun in the east, the eastern Mediterranean, from a European point of view. And remember, the Islamic states of Iraq and the Levant. Remember that? ISIS refers to itself as that was a big deal. And they thought that was somehow, again, anti-Semitic, because they believed that somehow Obama wanted to do that to eliminate inclusion of Israel. I don't know how. ISIS is the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Remember that one? So there are all these names, and they played around. So good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. Most people will believe me. We're the only ones today at this time and space debating anything involving Levant. So understand, back to what I was saying. Pam Bondi, unforced error, I should say, own goal. They're buying people, they're allowing the Dems, or whatever, to run out the clock and to come up with their own list in which invariably Trump will be involved. All of this could have been avoided had Pam Bondi just not said anything. You also have at the same time this new movement. As Bibi keeps coming back and meeting with the president, he doesn't know. And the most boneheaded of boneheaded moves, going after Putin. Why? Because I thought I'm disgusted that the president is kowtowing this much and with such mindless ferocity and obeisance and just suck-upness to NATO. I can't believe what I'm saying. He's schizophrenic. He doesn't like the EU, and he likes them. Lindsey Graham is... Vladimir Putin said, I believe he said, that no matter who is elected, they always turn into John McCain. It's the truth. And that's where we are right now. And we have midterms. And if you're not scared by this, and this I don't know what he should do regarding Epstein. I think he's going to invariably have to release something that he's going to call, kind of like that, that lunatic in Florida, the congresswoman. She's crazy. But anyway, at least she's spunky. She's kind of remember Massey and Boebert and and let me change the subject just for a second. Did you see what New York and New Jersey went through yesterday regarding these flash floods? If this is not manufactured, accelerated, exacerbated weather, I don't know what is. And Bobby Kennedy is at it again with his red dye number 3. Pilgrim says, who said, how many divisions do you have? Stalin referred to the Pope. And somebody said, well, the Pope says something. And I think Stalin says, how many divisions does he have? I think that was the quote. Okay? So this is a very complicated move. But you're not going to see this. You're going to see just everybody coming up to and including even Kevin Spacey. Diddy's going to come out next. Diddy. And Ghislaine Maxwell wants to have that deal revisited where she believes she is, even though they've adjudicated this repeatedly, that she somehow is excused or immunized from prosecution. And she wants to petition. Listen, if she starts talking too much, They're either going to threaten her or her family. And instead of her just keeping her mouth shut and doing her time and making the money, whatever it is, why she's even with us, I have no idea. All right, my friends. Remember, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Go immediately to Lynn's Warriors. And that's on YouTube and on X or Twitter. Next, Lionel Legal. Sign up for that. This is our legal version of this. And make sure you like this video. Make sure you are subscribed to it, because 80% of the people who watch us aren't subscribed. So Pilgrim Media, thank you, sir. Sparky, thank you for your consideration and your kindness today. Let me see. Sal Angelo, the great Sal Angelo, thank you. And Cut Up Chatter and Fred Haddad, who gifted 10 Lionel Nation memberships. Thank you so very much. We'll see you later. I don't know when. Just keep watching this. And don't forget, listen to WABC overnights, Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern Time. For today was absolute a blast. All right, my friends, we love you. Have a great and a glorious day. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.